Joe Cowley reported that the Timberwolves inquired about Coby White's availability and did not want to wait till the trade deadline. So if you were the Bulls, should you even entertain this thought? We'll talk about it.
Get the lowdown on one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What is going on, Bulls Nation? So Coby White is considered as one of the, I'm throwing air quotes here, one of the young cores of the Chicago Bulls. Whatever that means. This core has not shown a whole lot this season. They did in the beginning, but now it completely went disarray. And I'm not pointing things at Coby White. Obviously, he's not the reason why the Bulls are on this 7-game losing streak. However, if you are the Chicago Bulls, it is your due diligence to listen to any trade offers that comes your way. At this point, no one should be untouchable. And that comes with a caveat. Of course, we have some, like interesting young pieces. Nothing that I would say would be a must-have. We don't have like a Cooper Flag that, regardless of what happens, you don't trade him. Yes, Matas Buzelis is not Cooper Flag, nor he would ever be. So if the right deal comes along, yes, you should be able to pull the trigger on Matas Buzelis, but that is if the right deal. And that should be a pretty good deal if you're the Bulls. Now, is Coby White a part of that? Yes and no. He's young, but he's not that young. And also the fact that you are going to re-sign Coby after the season, and it's going to be expensive. It is going to cost you. He didn't sign the extension because it makes sense for him as a player to wait out so he can get the max value that he feels like he deserves. And if you are the Bulls, you're now in the dilemma where if the season continues what we are, and let's say we finish 10th as always, and we go to the play-in, are you prepared to offer Coby White, let's just throw a number, around $30 million, and commit a backcourt of Coby White and Josh Giddey for $55 million? At the beginning of the season, I already said that I'm not buying that yet. As a matter of fact, and this is not a knock against Coby, but Ayo is going to be a free agent too, and I like Ayo's versatility. If you can sign Ayo for way cheaper, and I don't think Ayo is going to command $30 million, not at all. I think he's going to command somewhere between 15 and 20, maybe in the middle of that, maybe around 17. I am more keen into keeping Ayo because of his defensive ability, and like player like Ayo has a lot of value within the league. Coby White is in the archetype, albeit taller, somebody like Cam Thomas. I'm not saying he's Cam Thomas. I think he's way better player, way better ball handler, also bigger with bigger size. He's 6'5", and can play defense as well, but he has shooting, and he can take over games. With that being said, I don't know if I want to commit that money on our backcourt. So whatever trade comes along your way, the Bulls should be able to assess that. Now, particularly with the Timberwolves, it's tough because they don't offer any draft capital. Not that the Bulls are wanting any draft capital, but I'm sure the Bulls wanted some players. So player-wise, I don't see them trading somebody like Nas Reed. They're trying to win a championship, so they're not going to trade their veteran pieces, especially if they're contributing. They might trade, he's playing really well right now, but they might trade Julius Randle. But does the Bulls really need, Julius Randle at this point? Or do you want Julius Randle? If I was the Bulls, I would be no to that. I know they need some power forward, but he's not really in the timeline what the Bulls are trying to build. So as far as timeline, and because of the lack of first round picks, the only pathway I can see is for their young guys, which makes sense for the Bulls. And mind you, are trading Coby White, a player that is a bucket, So it's not going to be done just with Dante DiVincenzo. It's not. The Bulls need something here. They're trading arguably their best scorer, not arguably, or maybe their best player in here. So if you're the Bulls, you would want a young talent, which is DiVincenzo. Well, DiVincenzo is not. It's for salary purposes, but you need Dillingham and Behringer. It starts with those two, and that shouldn't be negotiable if you're the Bulls. If they said no, then don't. I mean, Dillingham is a bit of a mystery for the Bulls too, because they do have Josh Giddey. So what is he gonna be, another Trey Jones? But I don't like that. If it was me, I would love assets, but they don't have any. I would trade Coby, at a first, but they don't have any first. So maybe Minnesota is not the right trade partner for the Chicago Bulls. But if I was the Bulls and they come calling, and you are certain, for example, that you're not going to get better offer, which I think you are going to get better offers down the line. There's going to be teams that are going to be desperate, towards the trade deadline. Some teams would need point guard, some shooting, and, Coby having very minimal salary would help contending teams towards the trade deadline. It'll be like, hey, they're gonna offer. If you're just AK though, you gotta be able to pull the trigger when the right deal comes along. They have a habit of sitting on their hand, like Caruso. Somebody offered him like 2 firsts from what they're saying. Back then, Zach LaVine, all that good stuff. Lonzo Ball reportedly was being offered for first, and they never took it. So if you're the Bulls, you just gotta be ready to let go when the right trade comes along. And I think it will. They don't need to rush now to Minnesota, because player-wise, I'm not in love with those players. I'm not gonna lie. They're okay, but those two are a starter. Maybe get a couple of seconds here. But I'm not in love with the players that they're willing to trade. Obviously you can't get Ant or Naz Reid or any of their players. So, that's why it makes me think this deal is not going to happen. I'm sure they inquired, because they do need a ball handler, a point guard per se, who can create his own shot. And I see Coby fitting well with Ant. But if you're the Bulls, it's not. I think you're going to get more. And by more, I mean draft capital. But let me know in the comments, Bulls Nation, are you fine? What do you think would be a good deal when it comes to Coby White? Or would you like to see him in a Bulls uniform for years to come? Love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. And as always, if you are a Bulls fan, I would highly appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.